Today I'm going to share 5 things with you that I wish I knew when I started archery. And at the end of this video, I'll be saving you thousands and, more importantly, hours of frustration. Whether you're a beginner or you've been shooting for years, there are definitely some of these points that will be applicable to you. Point number 1, when buying a bow, make sure you spend your money wisely. There are many lower end bows that you can buy or second-hand options that you can buy, but make sure that you realize that you are investing in the enjoyment of the sport. Keep in mind to look whether the bow has options for draw length adjustability and for poundage adjustability. Most bows you'll be able to adjust your poundage by just increasing or decreasing the limb bolt screw, and this will make the adjustment on the poundage. But what a lot of the bows do not have is draw length adjustability on the cams itself. This is a PSC Brute, and this bow is adjustable from 23 all the way up to 30.5 inches. So most people would be able to shoot this bow. And when buying a bow like this, it'll be easy for you to sell this bow again to someone when upgrading or just selling your bow in general. When looking at draw length adjustability, you'll be able to see it on the limbs itself, or take a moment and Google the bow that you want to buy to look at the options available. But do remember that some of the manufacturers give you specifications that the bow is adjustable from 23 all the way up to 30 inches, but then you have to have a specific module on the cam itself to give you that specific draw length adjustability. This is a rotating module on this specific bow. So when you are buying a bow, make sure that you can adjust the draw length, especially when you're young and you're still growing. You don't have to buy new modules to change the draw length all the time. So with a rotating mod, it would be easy to adjust the draw length as you are growing. The difference between a lower priced bow and a high end priced bow is the material that the bow is made from. Whether it's a composite material on limb pockets or high end aluminium, it also goes with the cams. The type of material that the string is made of on the higher end bows, they use premium quality string material where the strings do not stretch, the timing do not go out, and your draw length doesn't change all the time. And then obviously the riser, whether it's a magnesium bow or a machined aluminium bow or a carbon riser, all of those things come into play in the price point of the bow. Another point that I want to talk about is when you're buying a second-hand bow, keep in mind that most second-hand bows do not have a warranty. So if something does happen with the bow, it's going to be a lot of money replacing the cables or the strings, the cams or limbs or whatever the case may be. And you do not know if that bow has been dry fired before or what has been done to that bow previously. So do keep that in mind when looking at buying a second-hand bow. When you are buying a bow new from a reputable manufacturer, you as a first owner have a lifetime warranty on that specific bow when you register the bow with that manufacturer. And that is worth a lot. If something happens to the limbs or the cams and it's a manufacturer's default, it'll be replaced for you for free. So keep that in mind, worth a lot of money when investing in a bow. Point number 2, draw length is far more important than poundage. So many other people that I deal with want to shoot high poundage before they are strong enough and before they are fit enough. When your bow poundage is way too high, you're going to fatigue quickly, you're going to injure yourself, and you're not going to learn the proper shooting technique, and you're not going to get accuracy and consistency. But what is the correct poundage that you need to shoot? When you're starting out, start low, shoot a lot of arrows, and then slowly build up where you would be able to, when you pick up the bow, that you can face the target itself and that you can draw the bow smoothly and comfortably, and you can let down safely as well. And when you shoot, that you can shoot a lot of arrows before you get tired. So do remember that start low and go up slowly. But the most important thing is draw length, and I'm going to show you 3 easy ways how you can check your draw length. The easiest way is the wingspan method, where you take a measuring tape and you measure it from fingertip to fingertip, when you just stand with your arms spread out wide. Don't overstretch yourself. And when you measure that in centimeters, you convert it to inches by dividing that centimeters by 2.54, and when you are in inches, you divide it by 2.5, and that'll give you a good estimate on what your draw length is. My wingspan is just over 73 inches, and when I divide that by 2.5, I get a measurement of 29.29. So when I'm shooting a hunting bow, I shoot my hunting bow at 29 inches. Another way is, if you've got an arrow, you can actually put it in your throat, and you can put your arms out, spread your arms out like this, and where your fingers come together, that is the measurement, and that there is 29 inches. That is an easy way. It's not always as consistent, but it'll give you a good idea on what your draw length should be. And the last way that I can show you how to measure it quickly is when you are standing with your fist and you spread your arm out like this. You should usually do this against the wall, and that you can do a measurement to the corner of your mouth, and this will give you a measurement of, this is just under 29 inches, but it's close enough to give you a good idea on what draw length you should shoot. Now that you know how you measure your draw length, something else that you need to keep in mind and that you need to know how to measure it is to know what your bow's draw length is set at. A lot of the manufacturers, when they have a setting on a 29-inch module, the bow is not always necessarily on that 29-inch setting. So a lot of you guys have a second-hand bow, you don't know what the bow is currently set at, and I'm going to show you an easy way on how you can actually measure the bow's draw length. So when you get to full draw, let someone mark the arrow in the throat of the grip, which is usually in line with the burger button of the bow itself. And when they've got a marker and they actually do that measurement, as an example, you take that measurement on the arrow, you measure that with the measuring tape, and you add 1 3/4 of an inch. Then you will know what the bow's draw length is set at. My draw length is 29 inches. This bow is set at 29 inches, but I'm going to show you when you have a bow and your bow is too long of a draw length. I'm going to explain and show you on this bow when it looks too long and when it looks too short. But when you have a bow where your draw length is way too long, your arm is overextended, you're automatically going to lean back. You're going to already be out of posture. And when you have posture where you're leaning back, the shoulder is coming up. It's so difficult to aim steady and aim properly. And that, in essence, makes you nervous and you can't execute a proper shot. Another thing, when you're shooting too long a draw length, if you've got the danger of hitting your arm, it's very painful and it'll instantly let you stop shooting and enjoying archery. When you are shooting a too short of a draw length, this whole shoulder will be pushing up. It will be very uncomfortable. It will cause pain at the end of the day. And when you are shooting a too short a draw length, the aiming is very jerky, and that will also make you more nervous and anxious, making it difficult to execute a good solid shot. When your draw length is perfect, the aiming is very slow. It calms your nerves, and you can execute a good shot, allowing you to get into the back tension that you want and releasing and shooting a good shot. But let me show you on a practical side what good posture would look like and what the right draw length would look like, and when it's too long and when it's too short. So this is good posture, standing nice and upright, shoulders down, arm is slightly bent in the front. I don't have a lot of facial pressure. I've got a good solid anchor point, and it allows me to start lifting my arm, getting into my back tension and executing a good shot. I showed you good posture first because this bow is set the right draw length. So if you do have the right draw length and you've got bad shooting form, it might end up looking like the draw length is too long for you. But make sure you are standing upright and your shoulder is down, your arm is slightly bent. When your draw length is too long, it'll look like this. You're going to lean back. There's going to be a lot of facial pressure on your face with the string, and your arm is going to be very flat at the back, which will be very difficult for you to get into back tension because you're already overstretched and too long. So when you've got facial pressure like this, you will definitely get left and right misses. So make sure that when you shorten the draw length that you get to the side of your face on the tip of your nose to execute a good shot. When you have a bow that is too short for you, this arm will be bent a lot, and when you are leaning against the wall with the bent arm, you will tire quickly. You will not be steady, you will not be able to shoot accurately. But in my opinion, it is better to shoot a slightly shorter draw length than a too long of a draw length. But when the bow is too short for you, you will be shooting with the bent arm, and it will be difficult for you to actually get to the bow and to climb in behind the bow itself. So make sure that you get a nice straight arm, stand upright, and get the bow to fit you nicely. Again, I'm talking about shooting form and posture. So make sure that you know what the draw length is, what the bow's draw length is, and what good posture should look like. Many archers buy a good quality bow, but they end up buying the cheapest arrows. And yes, I am in agreement that when you are starting out, buying cheap arrows until you get comfortable with the bow is an option to go for. You might miss the target, might break a few arrows, but as soon as you get comfortable with the bow and you are accurate with the bow, do invest in good quality arrows. And do remember that the arrow that you are shooting is the projectile. That is what is giving you the end result at the end of the day. In the target, and whether you're hunting in the animal itself, this is the projectile that is actually doing the job and the desired job that you want. Poor arrows that does not fit your bow is not necessarily cheap arrows. And when I'm talking about poor arrows, it means that the spine is not correct for your bow and the weight might be either too light or too heavy. But on all the arrows, there is a number. And that number is not the weight of the arrow, it is the spine. So this arrow is a 340 spine arrow, usually a 400, 500, 600 spine arrow, and a lot of the people confuse that this is the actual weight. There might be a number on the shaft itself that might say 8.6 GPI. That is the weight. It will measure 8.6 grains per inch, and that is the actual weight of the carbon shaft for 1 inch of this carbon shaft. Then you add the knock, you add the inset, etc., etc. But when you are shooting a 60 to 70 pound bow, depending on your draw length, but most people would shoot between 28 and 30 inches, a 340 to 400 up to 300 spine arrow would do the job really well. And when you are shooting an arrow with the correct spine, you are going to get better accuracy, better arrow flight, better penetration, better broader tune. Everything will just be a lot better. So keep in mind that if you are shooting an incorrect arrow, it will then lead to inconsistency, no accuracy, which will lead to bad arrow flight, bad broader tuning, and you will not get good penetration when you are going hunting. So keep in mind to invest in taking time to get good quality arrows that is the correct spine that fits your bow to give you the best accuracy, penetration, and consistency. It is important to dive into the arrow itself, the diameter of the arrows and the weight, etc. And I want to explain it a little bit more. But on the shafts usually, or you would find the technical data on the manufacturer's websites. But on this specific arrow, you actually see everything. They put everything out here. This is a Terra Firma Fortis arrow. It's a nice arrow that I've been shooting. It's a 0.166 diameter shaft. So this is a formal shaft with a 250 spine. That's the stiffness of the arrow. It's a 0.001 straightness. So that means when I spin the arrows are really nice and consistent when they spin. The 0.003 and 0.005 measurements that you see, the arrows will be cheaper. They will not be as accurate. They will not be as consistent as the 001 arrows and shafts. And then lastly, it gives me a 13.0 GPI, which means this is quite a heavy, dense arrow, which is 13 grains per inch. So this arrow with all its components is measuring close to 600 grains. Another thing that I want to talk to you about is the actual length of the arrow and what length you should cut your arrows. When you are a junior and starting out and you bought your first bow, yes, cut your arrows a couple of inches longer. Then as you adjust your draw length, you do not have to change the arrows. You can use the same arrows. But when you are fully grown and you are at your comfortable draw length, a good measurement is to actually cut your arrows the same as your draw length. And when that's the case, like I've said, is the throat of the grip plus 1 3/4 will be the draw length of the bow. And then when you are shooting a broadhead, it will be in the front of the bow. And if for some reason it falls off the bow, the broadhead does not end up into your hand. So at least cut your arrows the same as your draw length. When you are a target archer, you can obviously cut your arrow short until you get the desired spine. But when you are a target archer, you know a little bit more about the archery and the spine of things. You do group tuning. But make sure that when you are starting out getting arrows, cut it at your draw length. Your broadheads will be safe. When you've got a broadhead on, you will get good spine when you match it to the manufacturer's specifications. If you are shooting a heavy point, you are going to end up having to use a stiffer spine arrow. When you are shooting a light point, you will end up being able to use a weaker spine arrow, because obviously with more weight in the front, it softens the spine, and with less point weight, it stiffens the spine. A little bit more of an advanced information there, but keep that in mind. The fletchers at the back, there are thousands of fletchers that you can use, and in my opinion, you can use any fletch with a slight offset or helical. You'll get good consistency and you'll get good groupings, but make sure the spine fits your bow, it's the right length, and that'll give you the best accuracy and consistency. Point number 4, and this for me is probably the most important. Learn good shooting form before chasing bullseyes. Everybody, once they get their bow, they want to shoot the bullseye. It doesn't matter, it's in your nature to want to hit the middle. When I go into season, I spend more time on good shooting form and executing a good shot. When you begin, you do not have good posture, your aiming is not as steady as the more advanced archers, and as the bow is moving, you learn yourself to punch the trigger, which ends up giving you target panic, making it difficult for you to get good groupings consistently. So make sure that you take a moment before you advance to longer distances, that you've got good shooting technique. And I'm going to demonstrate and show you what good shooting technique looks like and what you need to do to make sure that you can get good consistency and accuracy. I'm going to make this as easy as I can. Shooting stance should be nice and upright. When you put the arm forward, your shoulders should be down, your hand should be relaxed, and when you draw the bow, it should get to the side of your face with your arm being nice and in line without being overstretched on your draw length. Get to a nice anchor point, put your finger on the trigger, and just execute the shot. But let me demonstrate. And I'll also show you the causes where a lot of people end up making the mistakes. I'll show you the good shooting form and posture. I'm standing upright. I've got my grip into the bow, which is nice and relaxed. And I lift my bow up. My left shoulder is down. I'm pulling the bow poundage is not too high for me, my arm is slightly bent in the front, my hand is relaxed, I'm standing upright, I'm barely touching my face with the string, I got my thumb on the trigger, I'm feeling the trigger, I'm lifting my elbow up, getting into back tension, I'm squeezing the trigger, and the shot will fire. That in essence is what good shooting form looks like. What a lot of people do when the bow itself is too heavy, when they've got too much poundage that they are pulling, this is what they end up doing. The bow and the settings will be perfect, the draw length will be fine, but because you've got bad posture, this is what they end up doing. As they draw the bow, they already lean back and they're already in this posture. The left shoulder's up, they're leaning backwards, and this will lead to unsteadiness. And when the left shoulder is up like this, you will not be able to aim steady. It will be very difficult for you to get good consistency from it, and you will start getting injuries in your left shoulder, and you'll get sore, and you will not be able to shoot a lot of arrows good and consistent. So make sure you take the time to get good posture itself. What I do want to share with you, and this in my opinion is probably something that you will get the most value from, is get yourself in front of a blank target without anything on it. And if you can take the sight off, even better. Get yourself to draw the bow and focus on your posture. As soon as you start aiming, your subconscious takes over and you focus on aiming, and then you want to hit the bullseye. And then you are not concentrating on good posture and good shooting form. So we call it blind shooting. So when you are standing in front of a bale, you can actually end up drawing the bow, focus on relaxing your hand, your shoulder down, standing nice and upright, and if you need to, close your eyes and then just focus on squeezing the trigger itself, and obviously make sure that you are standing close enough to the target that you don't miss the target. But blank bale blind shooting, in my opinion, is the most valuable for good consistency and for good shooting form. And take your phone and video yourself and see if you are standing upright, and if your shoulder's up, if your shoulder's down, and take a moment to analyze your shooting form and improve your shooting form, and then you will be hitting the bullseyes consistently all the time. Point number 5 is basic bow tuning. and get familiar with what basic bow tuning is. So when you are getting a second-hand bow, or if you are at home and you're not sure your bow is tuned and you haven't been able to get to someone to set up your bow, here are some easy ways to check if your bow is set up the right way. Obviously, we've spoken about the spine of the arrow, which is very important to match your bow. We've spoken about that, and that is a very important thing to be able to tune your bow. But the easy way also to see if your bow is set up the right way is just to sort of see if the arrow is 90 degrees with the bow. This is a very good starting point to see the loop is level to the rest. If the arrow is facing downwards, obviously you need to make an adjustment that you can lift the arrow that it is 90 degrees. And this is just a basic way to show you guys what you can look at home and whether that is the case with your bow. The other thing is to look at the center shot, and when you're looking at the back from the bow is to make sure that the arrow is running down the center of the bow. That is a very good start for you when you are wanting to tune your bow. That'll give you a fair arrow flight, and if you need to make small adjustments on your rest, you'll be able to do so once you've shot it through paper. Or if you don't have access to do that, you'll be able to see how the arrows are flying, and if it's shooting tail left or tail right, then you'd be able to make small adjustments on the rest. But do keep in mind that if you are getting left or right with the nock flying left or right, you're getting fishtailing, it might be that you're getting contact on your rest itself. So is your rest actually falling away, or is it staying up, and if you're getting contact or not? And you'll be able to see if you're getting contact on the bow or on the rest by scuff marks on the fletches. So if you do have that, make sure that your rest is not the cause of that. And take a moment to look at the manufacturer's way of setting this up, but you should be able to just easily change this with the length of the rest that's in the cable to get the rest to drop away quicker. Another thing to look at is when you get to full draw, is the bow extremely spongy and it feels like a double hop as you get to the back. That'll be an indication that the cams are not synced. This is not something you'll be able to do at home. You need to get to a pro shop or someone with a bow press, and you have to do some adjustments on the cables to get the cams to be synchronized to touch each other at the same time. It'll cause a little bit of inconsistency, but usually when the timing is out, it won't have such a massive factor if you've got shooting form. But obviously, if your timing on your bow is in, accuracy and consistency will be a lot better. Something you'll immediately see if your bow is not going to tune or not is the actual loop itself. This loop is tied in nicely and properly. It's got knock ties in. But one thing that you can do and check whether you're going to have tuning issues is when you've got your arrow in the loop is just to rotate the string. And if your arrow moves left and right, it actually has pinch inside the loop and on the string. So make sure that you have movement on the knock. Otherwise, you have to untie these knock ties, or you have to just widen your loop a bit and make sure you put some of these in that they don't pinch. So these knock ties we put in here with serving is preventing the loop from pinching, causing the arrows to not fly correctly. That's a very easy way to see if you're going to have tuning issues, is to see if there's any knock pinch on this. Another easy way is when you are setting your bow poundage, make sure if you give it one full turn at the top is to do the same at the bottom. So this is a tiller tune what they talk about, but you want to have the same amount of adjustments at the top and the bottom limb to make sure this is nice, equal and even. This is the 5 things that I wish that I knew before I started archery that can save you thousands of rands and hours of frustration. If I just knew these things and implemented, it would make my archery journey a lot smoother and more fun. And I hope that you've learned some stuff out of the video that I've made today. Please leave a comment down below what you've enjoyed and what you'd like me to do next time, and what you found on your bow might be the mistake. Thank you for taking time and watching. I'll catch you on the next one.